Changing the oil in your car is easy to do, and I'm going to show you using my car as an example. For this project, you will need a few tools. You'll need a socket wrench, some sockets, an oil filter wrench, which is optional, a jug of oil, and an oil filter. And optionally, you can actually throw in some gloves too. Additionally, you will need a jack, a used oil catcher, some jack stands, and a few blocks. Prior to jacking up the car, put the blocks under the rear tires so that the car doesn't move. With the blocks in place, you can jack up the car in relative safety. Find a solid spot under your car to locate the lifting plate on your jack stand to allow you to lift your car without damaging it. Here you can see I have found the cross member under the front of my car and am slowly lifting the jack into place. Continue raising the vehicle until you have room underneath to work. With the car raised, you can now find the spot on the frame of the car to put in the jack stands. The jack stands will help protect you so that the car does not fall on top of you. Make sure you position them in the right spots, and you can usually find the correct spot in your owner's manual, and it'll be located next to the section where it tells you about jacking up your car. With the jack stands in place, I lower the car so that the weight of the car is resting on the jack stands. The jack stands are rated to handle the weight. With the car elevated, it's now time to drain the oil. Right underneath the engine is the oil pan with the oil plug right there. Next to that, usually, is located the oil filter. I have slid the oil pan in place and I'm ready to take the plug out and drain the oil. To do that, I'm going to need to find the right size socket, which is why I said you're going to need an assortment. Fortunately, I was right on the first try. Loosen the bolt to the point where you can get it with your fingers. Once you're at that point, go ahead and loosen it the rest of the way. At a certain point, you'll see oil start to drip. Get ready, because it'll start gushing out. While the oil drains, let's go prep the new oil filter. With the new oil filter, you will need to lube up the seal so that it gets a good fit where the old oil filter was. To do that, you just take a little bit of new oil and rub it around the new seal, and then you're done. Once the old oil has finished draining, it's time to remove the old oil filter. For that, make sure you have your oil filter wrench handy. Take the oil filter wrench and adjust it so that it fits around your oil filter. Gently grab around and give it a twist. After maybe a quarter of a turn, you should be able to grip it with your hand and twist it the rest of the way. It should move relatively freely, and you'll know it's about to fall off when the oil starts to drip around it. At that point, twist it a little bit and get ready to catch it. At this point, you'll need to let the rest of the oil drain out from here. Once it's completely drained, you'll want to take a paper towel or something just to clean up a little bit. The residue can burn off, and what little you do miss will eventually burn off, and it doesn't really smell that great. So the more you get, the better off you are. Once you get it all cleaned up, grab the new oil filter and place it back on. You'll be able to get it on there most of the way with your hand, and you'll want to get it as tight as you can. Just hand tight. After you get it hand tight, you want to use your oil wrench, and it only takes about a quarter of a turn. Replace the plug we took out earlier to drain the oil, and then we're done under the car. Remove the jack stands, the used oil catcher, and then lower the car. With the old oil out, it's time to put the new oil in. Check your car's manual for the amount of oil you need to add back in. After you add the oil, you'll want to turn the engine over and let it run for a minute to allow the oil to run through the system. Then you will need to probably add just a little bit more, and then you're all done.